Hey, mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. If anyone in the chat can hear me, just push one. All right. I got a confirmation from the chat. Thank you for the confirmation. Welcome back to the Black Brain Trust. This is Black Tech Talk, episode 517, Microtransport chat. Please hit the like button as you come in. Share the video if possible. Hit that notification bell so you get all the updates from the Black Brain Trust, including those posted on community tab. There's a docket in the description. Well, actually, there is no docket just yet. There will be a docket. We're waiting for Complex to come up. Also, if you want to engage in this discussion, there'll be a link in the chat for you to click on. When you click on the link, make sure you raise your hand so that one of us can acknowledge you and advance you to the panel. Before joining the panel, make sure you update your Zoom client. There is a new update out for Zoom, security update. All right, let me get this together. Let me give a shout out to the people in the chat who showed up. Excalibur, salute. Zone, welcome. Thank you to you as well for doing all the work that you do for us. Darkside 90 PCU, Complex Design, good afternoon. Excalibur. Mella, good afternoon to you as well. Space Cowboy PCU, Derek, peace. Danger Remy, peace to you as well. Thaco Davidson, hello to you. Keep it techie, what it do?
Yo, what's up, Mike?
What's going on, man?
Not much. Hold on, I'm trying to post a link here. Oh, there we go. All right, Mike, I posted the link to the video that I did maybe a week ago.
You can share your screen too, and I don't think.
No, I'm on my, let me see here. Can I share my screen?
You have posting privileges, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Let's see here. Okay. Let's see here. Let me find it. Yeah, because what I wanted to do with this chat was to kind of maybe solicit some ideas right? Get people kind of thinking a little bit about this type of stuff. You know, particularly with regards to business concepts. Oh, that's my garage door. Particularly like business concepts and ideas. You know, we talk a lot, and we really just kind of talk about it just from an informational standpoint, but to kind of maybe give people a demonstration of like some hands-on, right? So now we can kind of look at it, we can see it taken apart, we can see one put together.
Like
We've got,
expand the screen on your phone because
wait, hold on. Wait, am I is the screen sharing right now?
the screen is sharing. We can see everything.
Oh, okay. All right. So yeah, I was gonna play this video here and then may just have an open chat about how, like based on like where we live, for example, how could we use stuff like this from a business standpoint? You know, in light of like recent events, we've had to kind of retool our thinking with regards to a lot of this stuff here. So we've got some things we're going to be trying to pilot here in the next month or so. I'll go into that a little bit, but I did want to just because I did this video, so I just wanted to play it and then we can talk about it. Now, Mike, if I mute Zoom, but I don't mute YouTube, it should play, right?
No, if you mute Zoom, you won't, the people on the other
You
end can
won't hear. Okay, all right, no problem. I'm going to play this. Can you guys hear everything okay?
No.
You can't?
No.
No?
No.
Okay, because it's showing on.
You might want to get to your desktop then.
All right. Give me a second.
All right.
Because I got to roll back in the house here. Wait, hold on.
Stop sharing your screen and then.
Okay, yeah, hold on 1 second here. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so as I get my laptop fired up here, so some of the thoughts that we've been having here as of late, especially with regards to a lot of what's going on right now, we're seeing an increased need for like last mile services of various types, you know, and that's where small electric vehicles that are IoT connected come into play, because they can more efficiently complete those last mile tasks without the cost associated with using something like a car, right? When you look at what you pay for gas, insurance, maintenance costs, and everything for deliveries that are, say, 1 to, or like let's say a half a mile to maybe 3, 4, maybe even 5 miles in distance. Okay, so using a vehicle that doesn't consume the amount of resources to complete that task gives you a higher ROI from an enterprise standpoint, has less of of a um, a carbon footprint. It's less disruptive, right? So they're smaller vehicles, and since they're smaller vehicles, then what happens here is that you have less likelihood for major traffic incidences, you know. So there's, from a case study, from a research standpoint, there's a lot of justification and a lot of business logic and reasoning for this to be something that becomes commonplace, especially now, given what's going on with the pandemic. I was talking to a buddy of mine, and he decided to pick up some DoorDash work while he's kind of in a furlough limbo state with his regular job. And he's telling me, like, he's like, dude, like right now, I'm averaging like 120, 150 bucks a day just delivering stuff because everybody's ordering online and just having it delivered to home because of the shutdown. So this is where we started thinking about sort of how to reposition and restructure our micro transport objectives, given how things have changed, just from a global business standpoint. Do you have any thoughts on that, Mike? I'm getting everything loaded right now. So
No, it's a point that people understand that the reason why you see these bike lanes being established now is for the micro transportation aspect. And so the preparation is from a civil infrastructure standpoint, civil engineering standpoint, and then you can lay these things out. I also saw that I'm not sure where it was, but tax incentives for EVs now. So trickling down to people who actually adopt these sort of micro transportation vehicles or micro transit vehicles. And with the ones that you kind of commonly see are just the more everyday transport, but there are some bigger ones coming out. BMW has a e-scooter coming out, or it's already out now in Europe. I don't know if it's going to come to America, but they have one. Honda has one. Toyota has one. So you're starting to see more of these stuff to come out. Ford has become a
Ford bought Spin.
Yeah. Ford is transforming themselves into a transportation company and not just a car company anymore. So this is where things are coming. How does this affect the Black community? Because you have pollution. You have various levels of pollution from internal combustion vehicles that actually impact the environment itself. And we covered an article last week about the COVID sort of travel bans in place nationally. You can see the smog has been lifted in a lot of areas almost overnight.
Yeah, I just saw a study on that, talking about the effects of all of this and how it relates to pollution. And because you've had so many people just off the roads and all that, we've seen like carbon, like CO2 deposits in the air and stuff like that just dramatically drop.
Yeah. And so they're looking at this and they're saying, well, if that's going to be the case, now's the time to really push forward with electrified vehicles and other alternative vehicles.
Hey, Mike, this is me trying to join. All right, let me get the video loaded up here.
The thing is, predominantly Black areas have the most amount of smog because these are the areas that are impacted the most from commercial and consumer transportation. What
were you saying, Mike?
No, I was just saying that the COVID ban has lifted a lot of smog, and that predominantly Black neighborhoods are impacted the most because of the passing of commercial and consumer transportation vehicles, internal combustion vehicles, and a lot of traffic lights in these areas as well. So what happens here is the idling of these vehicles. You idle about 20, 40 vehicles every 90 seconds at a traffic light. Yeah, you're gonna have some immense smog to get generated in these areas.
Right. Okay, I got the video loaded up here, so I'm gonna go ahead and preface it, and then it'll kind of just spark like the discussion that I wanted to have about this. So what you have is, wait, say that again.
You have to expand it out.
Oh, okay. Hold on one second. Boom, like that. All right. So what I do is I kind of go over a breakdown of a basic electric scooter, right? Something that you would use for what we're talking about. This is essentially micro transport. This is a perfect example of it. This is a small electric scooter that has a very powerful 250-watt motor. So with this small mobility device, there's a lot of things that we could theoretically do with it. Okay. In previous discussions, we talked about the software that manages like the logistics standpoint, the IoT aspect that you keep talking about as referencing, and we can deep dive back into that maybe after we talk about sort of like the hardware side, because when we talk about like the software and the IoT and stuff, sometimes that might seem a little fuzzy, and we don't really see like a visual of how we take what we're talking about in that space and then to say an actual IoT device and what we do in terms of application of it. So what I wanted to do is use one of these right here and to kind of break this right here down. So I have mine that I ride around with my daughter all the time. That's in the background, and then I have another one that I basically took apart and I have it piece by piece, each component like basically in an exploded view, and I kind of break down what it all is and the functionality of it, and just understand that you could take this and scale up. So when we talk about electric cars and we're talking about autonomous vehicle and autonomous driving, we're really just talking about a more sophisticated version of this right here. So I'll go ahead and play a video. I'll mute my phone and then I'll play the laptop and then we can have a chat about it.
We don't hear anything complex.
Wait, you can't hear anything?
No.
Oh, wait. My bad. Hold on.
Are you playing this through your headset or?
I was playing. I'm playing it. Wait, shit. Okay. I'm playing it through my laptop, but you guys can't hear it?
No.
Huh. Okay. Let's see here. If I unmute Zoom. And then wait. So I'm gonna mute my phone, and then if I unmute the laptop, right? Zoom in my laptop, you should hear it, right?
Yeah, I don't know if it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
Let me see if I can play it, and then we'll see if that works.
Okay.
So just exit out of
All right.
full screen and the sharing of the video, and then let me see if I can pull it up.
All right, I think I threw the link in the back shot. All right, folks.
All right. Let me share my screen.
This is just a quick breakdown of a basic electric vehicle that's IoT connected. So I wanted to break down the parts and just kind of show you how this works. I have mine, which is an assembled one. I did a speed test on it this morning. So that like 15 miles an hour. So I got good output on the battery. It's a 36 volt, 78 milliamp hour battery. I have one pulled out over there. I'll show it to you. But this is what it looks like put together. I got like, an, this is the app controlled Bluetooth lock from Lattice. So it's all GPS controlled. You can control it through your phone. This is the same technology that we use to do the IoT based stuff. I mean, it's all, this is fundamentally IoT, right? So there's like for your personal use, and then there's for commercial use. And the application that we have is for either or. This is just for my own personal little scooter here.
Hey, Mike.
I have a little seat on it.
What's up?
And
This thing,
so
you can't see the screen. You can hear it, but you can't see.
Because what I would like to do is to
Are you sure?
look at how.
Yeah, that's what
build
Zone says
on
in the chat.
this.
Like, I don't know if it's a problem
But
with
after
YouTube or
what
something.
we want to do is get ideas on how we can leverage things like this.
Yeah, let me try again.
Yeah, I don't know. I was having an issue with it. It's weird.
All right. Can you see it now?
There we go. All right. Yeah. Yeah, that was weird, man.
I did a speed test on it this morning. So that like 15 miles an hour. So I got good output on the battery. It's a 36 volt, 78 milliamp hour battery. I have one pulled out over there. I'll show it to you. But this is what it looks like put together. I got like, this is the app controlled Bluetooth lock from Lattice. So it's all GPS controlled. You can control it through your phone. This is the same technology that we use to do the IoT based stuff. I mean, it's all, this is fundamentally IoT, right? So there's like for your personal use, and then there's for commercial use. And the application that we have is for either or. This is just for my own personal little scooter here. I have a little seat on it. And so the reason why I'm showing this one is because what I would like to do is to look at how we can build on things like this, right? You don't necessarily have to reinvent the wheel. What we want to do is get ideas on how we can leverage things like this, right? So let's take a look at this. It's very, very minimalist in design. Again, the battery, 36 volt, 78, 100 milliamp hour battery, 250 watt motor, okay? Pneumatic tires, disc brake. Okay, data cable runs through the chassis and then into the brain, which is here, okay? I'm gonna show, I have one pulled out so we can see it, okay? So let's get a good look at it. Very small, this is a powerful vehicle. Like I said, man, throws me around in this thing, 15 miles an hour. Okay, now let's look at it, let's look at an exploded version of it down here. So we start with, we've got the handlebar, okay, which this controller here, this is the brain. And pardon me, I cut my finger yesterday doing some stuff. Oh, wait, so let me show you how it connects. Cellular modem, okay, which basically connects to a network. Okay, so let's say, for example, I have my software suite, which would be Lattice, and then there is the data line where I port this into so that it's connected. Okay, so this is the module that connects it, and it's just a simple board. Okay, on and off button. Okay. Let me see if there's the MAC address. Let me see, it's Bluetooth, so I think that's it right there. Okay. Your brake has a magneto inside of here, right? So in the hinge mechanism right here, there's a magneto, right? Which one cuts power to the motor when this is engaged, right? Cuts power to the motor, sends the signal
through the controller. The other thing it does is it triggers the brake light. This right here. Oh shoot! I don't know if you can see it right there on the back of the fender there. So that's what this does. This is the reason why the brake has a port here to go into the controller, because there is a magneto inside that does trigger the motor to cut power when the brake is applied. Okay, and what that does is then the motor, it kind of backwinds and regens. So when you hit the brakes, the motor stops applying power and then it starts recapturing. It's called KERS, kinetic energy recapturing. Okay. Throttle, same thing, plugs into the controller. That sends the signal to this, right? Data cable plugs in here in the tube, which runs all the way down into the controller. Okay. Runs all the way down into the controller, which also the motor, right, plugs in right there. So we have the data cable and the motor, and then we have the battery, right? So we're tracing everything, right? So the two main components, the controller and the brain, the ECU over there. The battery, so again, this is a 7800 milliamp hour battery, 36 volt. Okay. So this pack can power this 250 watt motor. I usually go modest with my estimates. So I'm usually saying I give it a good 10 miles, right? The way I use it, I can get about a good 8 to 10 miles of range out of it, the way I use it. I'm always on sport mode, so I'm always like boning out on this thing. 15 miles an hour. Okay. So that is the Xiaomi M365 electric scooter in a nutshell. Pretty much any electric mobility device it has the same structure. This is, dude, even an electric car, fundamentally it's the same way. It's a battery, there's a controller, there's a brain, and then there's a motor. Okay. It fundamentally works the same way. This is the reason why I wanted to break down something as simple as a scooter, something as simple as a scooter, because if we can conceptually understand how something like this can connect to an app, which can then be unlocked, it can be tracked, there's all kinds of things that can be done through IoT with this simple device right here. Okay. So all of this right here sends information to the controller, which then feeds it to the data cable back up, right, to the controller here. And then again, this right here is what connects it to the what Mike V would refer to as the edge computing, right? So the connection point where all the stuff is connecting between the device, your phone, which, hold on, let me pull out my phone and show you the app, and the services that manage the devices itself. So hold on, let me grab my other phone, because I am shooting this on the Mara phone, which you haven't been hearing me talk a whole lot about it because I have been testing it. And the good thing to report is that our software suite for all of this works on it. So that was really, if you really want to know, that was like really one of the main reasons why I got the phone. I wanted to see if Lattice would work on it, and it does. All right. Well, Lattice, I'm pulling it up right now. Wait, let me get over here. We can continue. Wait a minute. Okay, here we go. It's finding me. So what it's looking for is the lock that's on my scooter. Boom. See it? Pacific Ride scooter. And it's named Venice. There it is. There it is. So this is the app. So like I said, the app, this all right here. This is it in a nutshell. This stuff is like, look, the point in doing this is to just show that the stuff that we talk about, one, we actively engage in it. And so when we talk about it, we're actually showing you that we actually do this shit, okay? And I can explain it in a way where I'll take the whole damn thing apart and explain to you piece by piece how it all works and how it operates. Okay, so you know, just dispelling myths and rumors out here, because a lot of people are saying a lot of crazy stuff, dude. I get it. Coronavirus, I got it. Doesn't change the truth, right? That's the ultimate point. So again, micro transport in a nutshell, how it works. There's a previous video we did on the IoT aspect of it, but I wanted to show you the hardware aspect of it. And what I want to do is I want to talk about ideas on what can we do to leverage this, right? We don't have to reinvent this. It's already here. What can we do to maximize on this? What can we do to make this different? Can we add to this? Maybe like a little trailer, something that goes back on, connects to the seat post. Little trailer where we're doing, getting UPS contracts and we're doing deliveries using a fleet of these. I don't know. What do you guys think? We're gonna hold a live stream. We're gonna talk about it. All right. So I'm glad you guys checked me out here for this 10, 15-minute little presentation on the Xiaomi M365 electric scooter and how it all works. All right, folks. Talk to you soon.
All right.
Thank you for that, Mike.
Yeah, no problem, man. Very, very good presentation. So
Thank you.
that's what that's what complex is referring to. Hey, go ahead. Continue this. I need to make an update to the oh, that's the wrong.
Are you is it me or are we having a problem with this shit?
No. I mistakenly thought your channel was the Black Brain Trust, and so
Okay.
I tried to edit, and I was like, "What's that?"
All right. Yeah, Mike. So I mean, based on all of that, right, and looking at how we talk about IoT and infrastructure, we were just talking earlier on the previous live stream about like improving villages, right? Would you say small mobility devices using this type of infrastructure would fit more appropriately than saying coming in and then re-terraforming what's there?
Well, it's not necessarily villages, right? In Joburg, they have townships. And so
right. Okay. Mm-hmm.
One of the main problems that I saw when I was down there is that people who could not afford to own a vehicle also could not afford cab service. They have Uber down there, but if you don't have a bank account, you can't open up an Uber account either. So one of the things I saw is that people walk long distances to work, 1 to 2 miles just to get to downtown. That's a long way, man, to be walking early in the morning at 5 o'clock in the morning. When I got off my flight, 5:30, I was down there at 5:45. There were people walking to work. Like it's treacherous. I saw, women in sandals, hiking up hills and stuff like that off the side of highways and stuff like that. It's pretty grueling just to get to work. I'll say that again.
No, I've seen those videos where they just walk off the side of the highway.
Yeah, and in the U.S. we don't do things like that, right? Because there's so many stipulations and consequences for doing it. But micro transportation, an e-scooter in that area would work wonders for someone trying to get to work. And so I don't know what the range is on this scooter. Can you speak to the range?
Yeah, I was saying for me, I get about a modest 8 to 10 miles per charge.
Okay.
8 to 10 miles, right? The load on the scooter in terms of specifications, you got to look at it in terms of basically a pound per watt, right? So you're talking about a maximum capacity on a scooter like this, 250 watt motor, you're looking at 250 pounds, right? In terms of recommended, like without real strenuous use, where the motor maybe goes into an overload because there's more weight capacity, but we're talking about something that maybe weighs here. I got mine right here. I'm gonna lift it. It's maybe about 40 pounds. Okay, it weighs maybe about 40 pounds, but has a weight capacity of 250. Right. So again, we're talking about.
So the scooter weighs 40 pounds itself?
Yeah, literally, I just lifted it right now. Yeah, I have one right here.
What's it made out of? What's it made out of?
It's made out of chrome. It's chromoly.
Okay.
Yeah, it's formed tubing. It's steel. Wheels are steel. Then there's a brushless 250 watt motor in the front wheel.
How fast does this thing go?
15 miles an hour. And then
okay,
you can mod it. You can mod it to do 20, but I'm looking at it more in terms of just what its capabilities are as just it as a device. You know, I'm looking at modding it in terms of functionality. Like what can we do? Like, so for example, like a trailer, you know, I was thinking about a trailer that can mount like the one in the video that I had, there's a seat post, so you could put a trailer on the back. And at that point, we can then utilize that for cargo. You know, if people have like, say like they're doing Instacart or DoorDash or something, you just put the grocery bags in the back of the trailer.
I thought they put it on their backpack. I thought
they have those too. Now those, we were actually looking into those back in like 2018, 2019. So those would be like, they have these food these backpacks. They're food bags that have like, it's kind of structured in a way where it keeps everything, you know, upright. But I know what you're talking about, Mike. Yeah, you wear it on your back. That's another one too.
Yeah.
Ready to go?
How say that?
No, I thought you were going to say something.
Oh no! I was just going to say this thing sounds like let me ask you, now one thing I know that, how does this thing work up? I mean, how does this thing work up hills and all? And you know, does this thing ride up hills decently or what?
No, like I said, I mean, is if you're within that 1-to-1 ratio of 1 pound to 1 watt, then basically it's gonna function, man. It's gonna move. You know, this thing it moves. It's electric.
Right.
You know, it's more of an instantaneous torque application.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
There we go.
Was there any questions or anything in the chat? Uh-oh, can you guys hear me? Oh shit. Wait, can you guys hear me? Wait, what just happened?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if Mike was there or I didn't know what happened.
My mic was muted.
Oh, okay. Now Mike Shinnery was talking about food delivery. Right. See, so with the food delivery thing, right? So this is kind of an idea that we started kicking around here because we have a partner who has a sizable fleet scooters, some of which I actually have here because I do all of his maintenance and tech work. And so, you know, given with this COVID-19 stuff and all that, it's largely impacted his business. So now we're looking at, you know, strategies and ways to repurpose the fleet. And so now we're looking at the explosion once again of last mile delivery. You know, you had a whole bunch of people, Instagram workers, maybe a couple weeks ago, they went on strike. DoorDash people going on strike because now there's an increase or an explosion or an increase in work, and now they're looking for more, you know, more favorable rates and stuff like that. See, so we're starting to see a demand in the last mile sector, right? See, so if you can reduce the cost with regards to moving something from point A to point B, then you can maximize ROI. And that's where something like this comes into play. Because I think I gauged it one time, and I think it costs like 10 cents to charge this thing. I think it was like 10 cents to do a full charge on one of these. Okay, there's a question. What's the advantage over a bicycle? I would say it's not the advantage is in the sense of you don't necessarily have to rely on one's physical capacity, right, to operate it. You could just get on it and hit a button and go. I don't have I also deal with electric bikes, mid-drive electric bikes. So basically it's a hybrid form of a bike. It has a mid-drive electric motor at the pedal sprocket, and it connects to the drivetrain on the rear, so you can select gears using a front motor. So it kind of converts it into kind of like a motorcycle, electric motorcycle with 7 gears. So there's also application for electric bikes. Really what we're just talking about here is speed and efficiency. If you electrify something, even if you hybridize it, you make it more efficient, you make it faster, and you give it more use and application because it can do more. It can just, you can get more out of it. That's primarily what the advantage is. Let's see here. Copy that. Thanks. Just heard you said. Oh, okay. Mike, Nagon, did you guys have any questions or anything?
No, what's the cost per mile?
Cost per mile.
What's the operating cost?
Operating cost. So let's just factor, let's say like if we have already, we purchased it, right? It's already been purchased. So again, if I'm factoring in that I get about 8 to 10 miles, right? I can get 8 to 10 miles on a charge. And I use it, like I said, I use it pretty aggressively, dude. I keep it on sport mode. So if I get 8 to 10 miles and it costs me about 10 cents to charge, I'm getting about a mile a cent, or maybe a little less.
Now, that's per ride, right?
Per ride, yes, per
Yeah.
charge,
Yeah.
per charge.
So see the issue in Joburg is that they've set up certain places where Uber and third parties can actually park their vehicles and even enter. Like you can't enter certain areas of Joburg if you're Uber, if you're a third party vehicle. Like it's set up strictly for gypsy cabs and stuff like that. And
right.
So, it's interesting how they go about that, but I do see a business model for Africa and Latin America. Because people just can't afford cars. Cars are very expensive outside of America. I don't know if people really understand that. You can't just roll up to a dealership and get a car. Like that doesn't work like that. Like cars are mega bucks overseas.
You got to think about how much they have to pay to import it. They don't, when you're a large industrial company or country, right? Your importation tariffs and things of that sort you can largely negotiate that at a higher volume. Okay. But when you're a smaller country and you're getting cars in, especially like newer ones, I mean, they probably had to pay a nice little chunk of money to get it in there.
Yeah.
You know, and then again, it goes, and then we tie it again all back to the cost of infrastructure. So if we're looking for reliable vehicles, you know, to move people and goods from point A to point B, we have to start to consider the cost considerations.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and can we offset some of this movement to smaller, more efficient vehicles using a different model?
He said he wants to mod it for bigger wheels. I don't know about that. They have good roads out there. I don't know what you're talking about. When I was in Kigali, the roads were impeccable. They were clean. They had their traffic lights talk to you. It says you have to stop, or please stop. Oh, it's different. It was different for me. I didn't see that in the United States before. I know the crosswalks tell you to you may walk or stay, but the traffic lights actually speak to you, and they actually have a timer that counts down like 90 seconds. This is on the traffic light, not on the crosswalk. The traffic light is actually counting down for you.
Right. Yeah. What was there was a question here. Could these be good for a rental business? Absolutely. So yeah, just to kind of follow up on what I was kind of touching on here. So given what's happening right now, it also ties to another question: has the pandemic affected your business if parts are shipped from overseas or locally? All right, so that's kind of, these two questions are kind of interrelated. So one, Vision, pretty much across okay, I have parts that I have in stock, right? I have controllers, I have things that I do have in stock, and then there's other things that I do need to have shipped over, because I have fleet repairs, and there's things that I don't have that I have to have shipped. And Mike could even tell you, he had a package that got delayed, what was it, 45 days?
Oh, from China, yeah, it was delayed. I ordered it in February. It didn't come until April.
Right. So that's what's going on right now as far as deliveries and, you know, getting access to parts and stuff, because we deal directly with the factory. So there's that part. Yes. And then the other part is, well, one of my partners who I am responsible for maintaining a lot of the stuff for. So his business is directly impacted by this at the moment. Yeah. So this is where, you know, now starting to look at how we can repurpose this stuff for a different application comes into play. Because you know, and I won't get into the nature of what he does specifically, but let's just say that it does kind of rely on tourism in a lot of ways. And so with this whole quarantine, I don't think I need to go into that. I think you guys can figure that one out. So yeah, we have a whole bunch of mobility devices here, and I have a software suite, and it's like, okay, what do we do with it? Right. And so, yeah, this is kind of where this conversation comes up, because it's not really even just about what do I do with this, but it's kind of like, if we look at the cost of entry to all this, Mike's just sitting up here asking me, what's the cost on operation on this? How much does it cost to charge? How many miles do you get out of it? How much do the scooters cost? When you really start to look at the numbers, you can start to extrapolate and see the value proposition. Okay. And so this really is more of like an exercise and a discussion and doing some businethbusiness modeling. Something we used to do, we do quite a bit of, actually. You know, this is also to get ideas in your minds as to maybe how you could see application for this kind of stuff in your area, because the cost of actually implementing this is lower than you think. It's not what you guys think. It's actually quite lower. What it is it takes a more or less of an interest and a vision on how to implement it, because this will be a mainstay. Mike just said, like, the way things are moving now, we're moving into a fourth industrial paradigm where things will be shared. Right? How we get around is going to be a shared mechanism. Small things like this, bikes and scooters and And again, other people who drive cars as a service or cars that drive themselves. So, yeah.
Yeah, when I was over there, Uber Eats was something like that's very, very, very narrow. People don't really do that over there. The culture is a little bit different. People do cook at home. So takeout is not really the thing, but it's starting to move in that area because of the pandemic. People are starting to figure out ways to order things and stuff like that. So,
Right.
And so to an extent, this can provide employment. It provides employment. A lot of this, they have a high unemployment rate on the continent. I mean, your mic is breaking up a lot.
Okay, Mike, I have a model that. I was gonna say, after you finish your comment, I have a model that I wanted to kind of demonstrate to prove that point.
Yeah, go ahead and demonstrate.
Oh, okay. So the pilot, one of the things that Anti-Grav, shout out to him, y'all.
No, I put myself on mute. You should be able to hear me now. I put myself on mute because I had to step away for a second.
Yeah, what the hell, dude? Zoom crashed on me, bro.
Oh, Zoom crashed on you? Did you?
Yeah.
Have you updated to the?
I literally updated today. Yeah, I updated before the first hangout. Yep.
Okay.
Where did I drop out on? Wait, can you hear me?
It said you were about to share critical info. I stepped away, so I didn't hear it.
Oh, okay. Well, shoot, in a nutshell, man, let me just kind of recap then. All I was saying was that there was a question about like the rental business and things like that, and I was talking about how Anti-Grav and myself were modeling a pilot program that we're gonna try to launch in the next 30 days, where people who do like DoorDash, Uber Eats, Postmates, and all that, they can go to an area where there'll be a scooter that's locked at a rack, charged up, ready to go, and they can park their car, beam this, and maybe just rent it for a couple bucks an hour, $5 an hour, and then do their runs. And I've got somebody who is looking to like do the pilot for me. So what I would do is just basically give them the scooter and just say, okay, look, man, here's what I need you to do. Just go here. At this time, I just need you to do a block of 4 hours. We can do different times and we can gauge and see what is the income potential. Like, what is the scooter able to do on one charge? Like, what gauge all of these different metrics is, and that's what a pilot is for. It gives us that data. So that's what we're looking to launch in the next 30 days, to maybe look at a way of repurposing and using these types of things especially for what's going on right now, with delivery services blowing up and last mile really being a big thing.
See, I think what's happening here is that although rental makes a lot of sense, maybe like an Airbnb or something like that, or a hotel, for some people, this is their only form of transportation over
Right.
there. Like I said, when I was in Rwanda, people, women were walking around with, they'll go down to the market and you'll see them come back with a bag full of food on their heads, and they would walk that thing, up the hill and stuff like that. So you start introducing something like a platform like this changes a lot of things, because the walk, the traditional culture of walking with a bag on your head, that kind of gets nullified because of a scooter that's a lot more powerful than maybe the one that you have. That the one that you have will actually offset that, right? So let's say it takes 30 minutes to walk from home to the market and back, one way. 30 minutes, that's an hour round trip. Well, your hour round trip can be cut significantly to a few minutes.
That's a few minutes, bro. That's like 10, 15 minutes. Like on this scooter here, and this is why I do this. What I do is I always drive it. I ride it because where I live, man, like the stores are not close. The closest little corner market where I'm about to head to in a second is maybe a mile and a half. And then the closest grocery store is like 2 miles. So I've looked at like the efficiency in taking the truck, right, a little Mazda pickup to these places, and then hopping on my scooter and doing it. And when you factor in things like traffic stops, okay, there's in certain traffic conditions on a scooter, you just keep going. Right, when traffic kind of builds up and it stops because of a light, you keep moving actually. See, so even though you may be traveling at a smaller speed in the same amount of time, you're going to cover probably the same distance. So again, we have to look at like what we get, like the output versus the energy input.
Yeah, I met a brother from Nigeria, man. Shout out to him. Spoke to him a couple of days ago. He has a startup that focuses on rewards points for purchases made on a continent. And
dude, that is, yeah. Okay, go ahead.
And so what he's doing, he's working with the credit card companies and the fintech companies to take those rewards points and to create a single kind of pool of rewards points to collectivize them, basically, and then they'll translate those points into other places that they can be purchased locally and stuff like that, like food grocers and things like that. And so when when you introduce like something like micro transport, every mile that you accrue becomes a certain amount of rewards points that also get added to, and then it gets added to a blockchain, and then those rewards points get tracked, and they're able to be spent in different places and things of that nature. That's the sort of thinking that is going on.
Hey, Mike, there's also I want you I'm gonna be in the truck, so I'm gonna run it quick and then I'm gonna come right back, but I'll post the link when I get back in. But there's an app called coin.app, I think it is, right? And it's a small little GPS dongle that you take with you, and basically you earn crypto on your movements, right? See, so imagine you have a fleet and you have a dongle on all these, and then in addition to what they do, their movements, right, earn cryptocurrencies passively.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like BAT.
Yeah, BAT. That's another example, right?
Yeah. So we got to start thinking, on a broader perspective. That's what I was trying to get to that point, in the last stream about IT mentorship. It's not just about working on computers anymore. Now you're talking about microtransportation, microtransit, charging stations and stuff like that. it's just a different way of thinking. You got to approach things differently. Um, like I said, in other countries, something a vehicle like this, as small as it may be, the fact that it's portable, they can bring it onto a train or something like that.
Well, Mike, the one I have, the neck folds, the seat folds, and it goes into a bag, bro. And then you just sling it over your shoulder.
Yeah, and there you go. If you're strong enough to do it. I mean, I know there's a lot of weaklings running around here, but your mic is breaking up a lot, Complex.
Wait, can you hear me okay?
We can hear you now.
Okay, I was just saying they don't weigh that much. They're pretty light. And when you fold them up and stick it in a bag, it's like a shoulder sling bag. They're pretty light.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the thing is, we have to start thinking on a broader scale to create this sort of ecosystem. That's the type of stuff that is needed over there. Because remember, not everybody has bank accounts. Not everybody has cash and stuff like that. If I'm a young Zennial African or Latin American or something like that, and I don't have a bank account, I don't have any other source of income, and I can get a job doing this, doing drop-offs and stuff like that, delivery, I can accrue points or reward points for every mile that I make, for every delivery that I make, and so on and so forth, and the thumbs ups and the so on and so forth.
Bro, the cryptos as well.
Yeah, well, yeah, well, it translates into cryptos, right? So
right,
the reward points, so quote unquote, so to speak, translates into other things, right? Different XRPs and stuff like that. What I'm saying here is, now I have a bank. Now I can collect these reward points and have it stored on a digital wallet that allows me to spend it on things everywhere else. So now I traverse the banks. I don't need to go to a bank to have a bank account now. I can actually have an account just by collecting these reward points and through a digital wallet.
And Mike, just know too, dude, that the app itself does, I think we covered this on a previous live stream, man, that the app itself has the ability to accommodate different types of transactions. So this could be in different currencies as well as cryptos.
Yeah. Even your airline companies now, Qatar Airways, and so on and so forth, American Airlines.
Don't they accept cryptos now?
I think Qatar may, or the Emirates or somebody like that. I'm not sure which one exactly. I know I heard about the same thing that you're hearing.
Yeah, I thought we covered it. It was one of them, dude. One of them, you can purchase your tickets with cryptos. Yeah.
Might have been Qatar Airways. But the point that I'm making here is that that's going to translate into different things. It's going to translate. When I was over there, they were talking about using your smartphone to pay to get on the mass transit. Unheard of a year or two ago. Unheard of. It was unheard of. So
it would work. It would fundamentally work the same way that you would use it for these scooters. And this is why I wanted to spark this discussion, dude, because this stuff it's not as far-fetched or far away into the future as we think, bro. Like, we actually have some hardware here. That's why I wanted to do sort of like a breakdown of it, because we have it in our hands. Mm-hmm. We have the smartphone from the, you know what I mean? Like, we have it here. It's like, okay, guys, what to do? Let's do something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Those sort of conversations that we are having. Like I said, the brother I met from Nigeria, I spoke to him a few days ago, man. He was saying it's on lockdown, so a lot of work that he's working on has been held up. But yeah, that's the sort of way that they were thinking over there. This is so much butter stuff going on over there, man. People don't even know. Man.
Well, Mike, I think the more striking point here is that we could easily get into the mix, and I think that's really what the bigger point here is, that what we're trying to drive. Mm-hmm. What our role is, being where we're from, and what's needed in other places, and what we can take there. And that's why, again, man, this is just a demonstration. It's like, okay, look, here's the hardware, we've got the software, we've got the knowledge, we've got the intellect. We also have the ability to kind of look and scheme for ways of implementation. And then there's a whole entire place that's begging for it. So what are we waiting? What are we waiting on, you know?
You know, it's interesting. Somebody in the chat says, well, you know, what's the difference between this and a bicycle? You'll be surprised how many people I ran into over there that do not know how to ride a bike. Full adults.
That's the other thing too. Yeah.
Don't know how to ride a bike. I mean, it sounds funny to some people in the West because that's a, you know, in the first world, people just ride bikes. But over there was people over there never rode a bike before.
Yeah, an electric scooter is something that's pretty easy, dude. Like the mine, I have, you know, neighbors that look at that and then they get on it, dude, and like within 5 minutes they're zipping around on it, you know.
Yeah.
Did we have any other questions or anything in the chat? Or Mike, did you have any questions based on kind of what we were talking about here?
No, man. No, I think this was actually good.
Okay. Yeah, that was really what the goal was for this one. It doesn't have to be a long live stream, but I did want to kind of put this, you know, in the Brain Trust archives. I also wanted to kind of put it on the brains of people who are listening in because, you know, I'm deadly serious about it. We're all deadly serious about the shit we talk about, man. I can't stress this enough. We're deadly serious about it. We're hands-on, and we really do have real plans for implementation. So the more people that that this kind of strikes, you know, an interest in, then I would say definitely reach out. We're looking to build, you know, a micro transport network. The software company that I work with has actually, Mike, I just found this out. They have engineers in Rwanda and Kenya, bro. Lattice does.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so they there, right? So now that just opened up, and this was basically from a discussion that I had with one of the lead engineers last week. So it opens up the door more to getting onto the continent. Now we have to kind of wait out this pandemic period, but see, this is the perfect time to have that discussion.
Yeah.
This is the perfect time to have it because now is the time to strategize and plan.
Yeah. It says the Bike Brain Trust. What do you think about the safety concerns for scooters in areas where there is high vehicle traffic? No different than biking. I know in Boston, you know, if you go down Comm Ave, I think they lose about 10 people a year to biking incidents because people are walking around with their headphones on, getting struck by vehicles, oncoming vehicles, even with the bike lanes. Somebody open up their door on their vehicle and they flip them over. All types of injuries come from that. So I think that's pretty par for the course. No different than regular bicycles. I think less now because of the bike lanes, but that comes a part of the discussion when you start talking about civil engineering, civil infrastructure. You have to, you know, entice the government that, hey, you got to outline, you know, these streets so that they're accommodating these new sort of EV vehicles, because the speed that they travel at makes them more susceptible to regulation, because a scooter that can get up to 30 miles an hour or 25 miles an hour, that becomes, you know, no different than a pedestrian scooter, a gas-based scooter, or a motorcycle for that matter. So
yeah, that's why they limit the like, so for example, for powered vehicles, they limit electric vehicles 700 watts before it has to be classified as, it has to be registered as a specialty vehicle. And then if it's gas powered, if it's above 49 cc, then it has to be registered as a motorized vehicle, right? So they figure that, but under 700 watts,
And under 49cc, those types of vehicles really should not have the ability from an power output standpoint to get anybody up past, say, like 25, 30 miles an hour, right? But Mike, you know as well as I know that you could build a 49cc engine that'll get you up to 50 easily, and 700 watts will throw your ass easily past 40.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you all for joining us. Please hit the like button if not already done so. Share the video if possible. Hit that notification bell so you get all the updates from the Black Brain Trust. Those posts on the community tab. Docket is not in the description of the video. Just refer back to Complex Design's website channel.